Welcome to Break the Rules, a two-word hack for driving creativity within teams. And of course, by teams in this current environment, I mean teams that you operate within a business setting, your wider team that's your organization, your community, and also your family, because the way that everything is intersecting right now, we're so dependent on each of these different elements to be able to function effectively. So, um, the reality, what do we know today? We know that disruption is everywhere. It's not industry specific. Every single um, vertical, every single sector has been affected by the pandemic. And for a lot of companies, for a lot of individuals, this has been quite a scary crisis. For a few, it's been an epic adventure. But I think for those that do feel really positive about it, it's because they have some tools, some tactics, some strategies under their belt to enable them to be skillful and to thrive in this environment. So I want to share that with you today. I want to share a couple of things. I want to share with you this new mental model that I believe has arisen out of this disruption that we're facing, and give you three key areas that we need to be focusing on. I want to share with you some of the rules that inhibit creativity, because in order to drive creativity, to be more innovative, to think differently, we need to know what's holding us back as well. I want to share a story, a case study with you of a well-known company that has hacked this, has skillfully managed to break the rules, and apply the lessons, and share the lessons with you, share this two-word hack with you that will enable you to get the same or at least similar kinds of results in your industry, in your organization, no matter your size, no matter your sector, no matter your role in the organization. Okay, so let's dive in. Let's start by sharing some context of why it's so important for us to be rule breakers in this current environment. Ernst & Young polled board members, leaders, executives globally last year, and they said that the number one priority for leaders going forward last year, this year, this 12 months, this time period that we're in right now, is going to be driving current revenue whilst also strategizing for challenges beyond the horizon. So it's that balance of present with future. And those companies, those individuals that are able to do this skillfully are going to be best positioned to manage this seismic disruption that we're all facing right now. So what do we know? Let's start with what we know. We know that budgets have been slashed for a lot of companies. They've been really operating on a shoestring for a lot of business units. For some companies, they've started to shrink their workforce. For some countries, they're in a recession right now, and so really sort of challenged by that. And we also know that this 5-year plan that many of us had in place of sort of doing things at some point down the line when we're ready, that 5-year plan has now massively shrunk to the 5-month plan, and for some organizations it's even the 5-week plan. So we need to work at a different pace. We need to have a different set of skills and tools under our belt. We need to operate differently. So that's what we know. What we don't know is that our roles have changed. Whereas before we might have been the marketing executive or the salesperson or the IT guy or the finance director, whatever that role, whatever that hat it is that you wore, you're no longer just playing that role. You no longer just have that responsibility. Now you are not only that trusted operator in that role, you're also a strategic co-creator. You're also a change instigator. What do I mean by that? A strategic co-creator means that you're now responsible for co-creating with your colleagues, with your leadership team, what the solutions are. You're responsible for now sharing some best practices of what other companies are doing, how people are navigating things. Leaders are now looking for your input because everybody is in this scenario together. Everybody's figuring out as they go along. Nobody has it dialed in. So it's really a collaborative effort, and that means you need to be giving your input, coming up with new ideas, being more strategic in your approach, in your delivery. And then the change instigator part, this role that you're playing is now you with your team. You're now responsible for, or at least have an important role to play in making sure that everybody is moving in the same direction, because the reality is a lot of people are resisting this change. They're used to doing things a certain kind of way, and now we're asking them to pivot and move in new directions, and it's challenging for a lot of people. And so you're now instigating, you're kind of lighting that fire in them and persuading them, and using your influence and leadership skills to be able to take them along with you on that journey, so that it serves your team, it serves your company. Okay, so let's start with sharing with you this mental model that I'm talking about, which will really sort of help you frame what it is as a leader that you need to be focused on right now. And there are 3 key areas that I want to share with you. I call them the Holy Trinity, and you need all 3 in order to be successful in 2021 and going forward. Okay, so I'll tell you what they are: speed, digital, and human. Okay, so let's break it down. Speed is really your ability to move at a much faster pace than you have been up until now. I heard recently a big name CEO, founder, who said that we as leaders, if we're going to be successful, if we're going to sort of steam ahead forward, despite what our competitors are doing, despite the state of our industry, we need to be working and moving at 20x the speed that we were moving at pre-COVID. 20x. That's lightning speed. We can't afford to be waiting till we have the perfect strategy, the perfect business plan, all the dots and the I's checked. Sometimes things are going to be messy. Sometimes things are not going to be clear, but we really need to be sort of just taking action, because the market is changing literally. Well, right now it's changing daily. But certainly sort of on a weekly basis, every 2 weeks, things are changing at a rapid pace right now. So we need to be moving to stay ahead. We can't be waiting until everything's perfect. This also means we can't be complacent. We can't be hiding under our desks. We can't be extending the runway. We can't be sort of like just hoping and praying and waiting that everything will recover once a vaccine is found and this pandemic is over. We can't be thinking that way. We have to move with a fire in our belly. We have to move with urgency. Okay, so that's speed, moving the speed. The second is digital. We understand that we need to move and embrace technology right now. We need to look for tools and platforms. We need to drive new innovation with technology. If that's our space, we need to use it to be more productive, to be more skillful, especially as we're working from home. And I think the danger here is that we're so comfortable with what we know. Certainly for those of you that feel like you're maybe more perhaps ahead of the curve digitally, the tendency is to look at what you have and say, well, I've got this down, or here's this software, here's this tool that I'm comfortable, I'm familiar with, and that's what I'm going to use. And again, things are changing so quickly in the marketplace right now that we need to keep our eyes and ears open for what's going on around us, what new platforms are coming in that are disrupting what's current, that are more relevant for us, that are going to enable us and our people to be more productive, and keep our products and services relevant for our audience. Okay, so don't be preserving the status quo. Don't be sort of hunkering under our desks. Just be looking ahead to what's new that we can embrace. Okay, and then the third element of this triad is human. And this human element is something that is so critical, because our role as individuals in the workplace, in fact, in the family and the community, has changed massively. How we operate has changed massively. We're working from home, we're working with tools and technology. We don't have the same interaction that we had before. So really paying attention to how we connect and relate as humans, as people, because that has changed. And if we're doing business as usual, that's not going to work in this environment. So we need to bring this human element. We need to make sure that we're taking care of people and making sure they feel psychologically safe. They feel comfortable. They feel that their voice is being heard, and they're not being judged, and all of that behind a camera, behind a laptop for many people. So really just sort of being tuned in to how we're connecting and relating with people, so that we're really supporting them with bringing out the best in them, bringing out their creative ideas, really paying attention to actually what's going on in their home environment as well, and how that's affecting their productivity as well. So speed plus digital plus human. We can't be repeating what we did before. We need to be looking ahead into the future, kind of like looking at that crystal ball, good gosh, if we had one. And that's the way that's the way forward. So I want to share with you the inhibitors for creativity. What inhibits our ability to be creative? We already tapped into one, which is, just the ability to feel psychologically safe, to have this productive working environment, whether that's working from home or whether it's, this hybrid environment that's there for some of us. But one thing that's really sort of gets in the way for a lot of us is the words, the language, the mindset that we have around what we can and can't do. This could be language that we've picked up over the years through education, through our upbringing, through our family, through friends. It could be language that we picked up from our colleagues, our leaders. Maybe it's part of the culture of your organization, or it could be the voice inside your head that just sort of sabotages you. And it's language that sounds something like this. We're too big. We're too small. You can't do that. I don't have the authority to do that. I can't make a decision that's senior. Our board will never allow it. You can't possibly, we've never done that before. Hear the pattern here? All of these, this language, this ability to say we can't do something because we haven't done it before, because we don't have the authority, because we don't have the right, so we're not at the right level in the organization. It's all stopping us from coming up with new ideas. So I just want you to catch yourself and to look out for those patterns, those habits that show up within you. Okay, so on to how to drive that creativity, how to light that, and to illustrate that. I want to share a story, a case study with you of a company that I think has done it really successfully. It's a very recent story, sort of over the last couple of years, but not very well known. And I want to highlight this because this is a company that we all know. They're well known for their creativity, and it's a really simple strategy that they used that had really powerful results that you can apply to. So the company is Walt Disney company, and the Walt Disney leadership, the executive team, they asked their innovation team to come up with a game-changing idea for Walt Disney World. Game-changing idea. That was their mandate. So the team sat down, and the way they approached it was this. They looked at all the rules that apply when you visit Disney World. So the rules are, you've got to stand in line to buy your ticket. You've got to stand in line for rides. You want to have your photo taken with Mickey Mouse or Donald Duck or your favorite Disney character. You want to have your, you want to eat at a restaurant. You've got to stay in a hotel overnight because you want to, maximize your experience. So all of these rules are part of the experience of Disney, of visiting Disney World. And they picked, the Disney team, they picked one rule that they wanted to break, one rule. And they picked, guests have to stand in line. Big irk for guests. They don't like having to wait for hours in line at a ride, when they've, when they really want to make the most out of their experience and their time there with their family. So the question they asked was, well, what if guests didn't have to stand in line? And they really just looked at other possibilities, and they came up with the idea of a magic band. Basically like a little wristwatch, a little band that guests would wear. It's connected to the credit card that's that's connected to their hotel. So it basically becomes a form of payment. It also acts as a fast pass access. So they would be able to go online, they could book what rides they want to go on, what restaurants they want to eat at. This wristband the magic band becomes a form of payment. It gives them fast pass access to the ride so they don't have to wait in line. They can eat dinner at their chosen times. So really, they can just guests can set the schedule the way they want it in advance, and it gives them the freedom to really just enjoy the day. So great benefit for the guests, but also a secret benefit for Disney also. By giving people this magic band, offering people this magic band, it allowed them to know exactly what their guests were booking, what they were interested in. They could gather all of this data, and now, because they've got this information, they can now improve the guest experience, which means more revenue. So what did the Disney team do? What was the strategy? What was the question that they asked? What if guests didn't have to stand in line? And that's the 2-word hack. What if? What if? What if X wasn't true? What if X didn't have to happen? What if there was another way of solving something? What if it was true, but it didn't matter anyway? What if? Ask yourself that question the next time you're up against a challenge, up against a problem that you don't know the answer to, and you catch that voice in your head that says, can't do this, we've never done that before, that's not in my job description, that's not, whatever that thing that's inhibiting you from breaking new ground. Ask yourself, what if X is possible? What if there was an alternative? Open that question. That what if question simply opens up the mind to new possibilities, new ideas. It enables you to break new ground, break the rules, and drive new innovation in your company, in your team, possibly even your industry. So go ahead, test it out, and let me know how this works for you. Share your story, connect with me on Twitter, connect with me on LinkedIn, and let me know how what if serves you.